Hi there, and thanks for joining this third webinar with me, Dean Stokes, on behalf of TextHelp. In this session, we're going to look at assessing work in Google Classroom using the built-in tools, as well as looking at Fluency Tutor for Google as a tool to assess spoken work. Now, this webinar is going to be perfect if you've watched the previous two webinars, or if you'd like more information about Fluency Tutor or assessing work in Google Classroom. So, let's get started. Now I'm logged into my G Suite for Education account and I've headed over to Google Classroom, which we've learned how to do in the previous two webinars. So I'm just going to head into the class here. Dean's class is what I called it here. And we can see the assignment that I set originally. Now over on the right hand side of the assignment here, it says one student has handed the work in and one is yet to complete it. And if I click on either of those numbers, it's going to take me to the screen where it shows me all of the student work for this assignment. Right now we can see on the left hand side here that it's highlighted the students that are done, and so I can see over here just the one completed document. But if I click on all students at the top here, it actually shows me Lucy's work as well. Now something that I didn't mention before was that if you set a Google Doc, a Google Sheet or a Google Slides file and have Classroom make a copy for every student, those pieces of work will show up here regardless of whether the student has turned in the work or not. So we can see Lucy here, it says not done. It might be that she's worked on the document a little but has decided not to hand it in yet. And all I would do is click to open the document if I wanted to. So I want to dive straight in here and check out Joe's document. And this is the one that we completed in the last webinar. So when it comes to assessing work in Google Classroom, there are a few different ways to do it. My personal favourite is to leave comments in the document because I think that creates the starting point of a really good discussion about the work. And we start to move away from having the traditional thing of a first draft which is marked, followed by a second draft which is assessed, and so on. Instead, we have one document which we're constantly working on over time. Now, leaving comments really is as super simple as everything else you've learned about so far. All you need to do is highlight a section of text like this. And when you do that, you'll see a comment button appears on the right-hand side of the page. You just click the comment button and you can type your comment here. Now, I think comments work best when they contain something that the students can action, but you can follow your usual assessment policy as you would in exercise books right here in Google Docs. So we might have something like a what went well and even better if. But just for the sake of this demo, I'm going to write a really quick comment. And to leave the comment, we just click the blue comment button. Or if you're a fan of keyboard shortcuts, you can press Control and Enter. Or for a Mac, Command and Enter. Now you would just work through the document, leaving your comments on any bits that you would like to assess. Let's say this part here. And again, on the right hand side, click the comment button. And again, once you've written the comment, we just click the comment button. You can also comment on images. All you need to do is click and then click the comment button. Really, really simple. Now it's worth saying at this point that because the student has handed their work in, they can't see these comments yet. They will only see them once you've returned the work and they have edit access to the file again. Because if you remember from last time, once a student has handed in their document or spreadsheet or slides file, whatever it might be, they then only have view access to see what they did. But as the teacher, you always have edit access. So if you wanted to assess in this way, once you've added the comments, you would then just jump back into the Classroom tab at the top of the screen here. And if you want to, you can leave a grade. So just by Joe's name here, I can click where it says Add Grade. And at the moment, at the top of this screen, we can see that this is out of 100 points. And you can change this value to any points value that you like. Currently, this can't be letters. I'm just going to change it to 10 and press Enter. It's going to give you a prompt here just to make sure that you do really want to change the points value. Click Update, and there we go. It's now out of 10 points. So once again, we click in this box here, and I'm going to give Joe full marks. And I really think it's the little things that can save lots of time with a tool like this. So when you have a long list of students here, once you've given one of them a grade, all you have to do is press the down arrow and you can type in the grade for the next student as well. So that's one way to assess work in Classroom, where you go into the document and you leave comments right there. Now Classroom also allows you to leave a comment that's private to the student right here on this screen. So if I click on Joe's name here on the left hand side, you see it shows me his document and it shows me the grade that I've given on the right hand side, and at the bottom it says add private comment. So I'm going to type something in here and I just click post. Now only Joe will see that comment, and if he chooses to reply to it, I'll see it in private as well. So once you're satisfied with all the assessment you've done, we need to return the work to the student so that they can edit it to either improve it or continue working on it. Now to do that, we just use the checkboxes on the left hand side of the screen. So if I wanted to return all of the work for the students that are done, I just tick this box here next to the word done. Or I can select individual students by ticking the boxes here. So I'm also going to add Lucy here. And at the top of the screen, I just click return. Now this is giving me a prompt because Lucy hasn't finished her work, she's not submitted it. So it's just double checking that I really do want to return the work to her. I'm going to click return, and now you see I get the option to add a private comment to all of the students that I've selected. So if you wanted to save yourself time, there might be 3 or 4 students, for example, that have done a very similar level of work that you want to leave a comment for. Rather than individually go through and leave them all a private comment, you can do that right here for all of them when you return the work. So I'm going to type a comment in here. Now the students don't know that you've left this for more than one of them, unless they decide to talk to each other, of course. So this is a really nice place to leave something that feels very personal, but is still saving you time. And once you're done, you can click return. And there we go. And you can see that group private comment is just added to the comments list at the bottom of the screen here for each student. And I just want to show you how this is going to look from Joe's point of view as a student. So here's Joe's assignment screen where he handed in the work in the last session. And we can see now that it's been completely updated with all of the information. So on the top right of the screen here is his grade. And at the bottom of the screen here are the comments that we left. One that I left privately to Joe, and one that I left to those group of students that I selected as well. And all the student needs to do is click here back onto his document, and he can then see all of the comments that you as the teacher left on there as well. Now anyone that has at least comment access to a document can leave comments, and so this is a great way to do peer assessment as well. You can have students share the document with their partner, and they can comment on each other's documents to recommend changes and so on. Now I really like how comments start a discussion about a piece of work. So this first comment over here on Joe's document said, "Great choice and it rhymes. Could you use any other words?" Now he could change that piece of work and then leave a comment here as a reply to say, "Yes, I've done that." Or perhaps if he's struggling, this is a perfect place to do that as well. And once he's written a comment, he can just click reply. And you see this creates a continual dialogue about this piece of work. Sometimes you might have left a comment that doesn't really require any action, like this one at the bottom of the screen here. Now the way that you might ask a student to acknowledge that is just to click resolve on the top right. And you see then the comment disappears. But that comment isn't deleted, it's still around for the life of this document. And that's really good when it comes to book or marking scrutinies. You can always go back and see exactly how this was built up over time. So if any comments have been resolved, all you need to do is click the comments button on the top right here. And we can see here that the teacher had written excellent choice, and Joe then marked it as resolved. And it gives us the time tags on here as well so that we can see exactly when it all happened. So I think comments are really powerful for teachers and students and really open up a great line of dialogue about a piece of work. Back into the teacher view now then, and one of the questions I get asked quite often is, well that's great, but what can I do with these grades? Well if you want to, you can export them and then you can do whatever you need to with them. Maybe import them into your school's MIS system, for example. So if you would like to export the grades, all you have to do is on the right hand side of the screen here, click this settings gear. And when you do that, there are a few different options. It says copy all grades to Google Sheets, download all grades as CSV, or download these grades as a CSV. Now those top 2 options there are going to take the grades from all of the previous assignments in this class, whereas the third option is just going to give you the grades for this single assignment. I'm going to choose copy all grades to Google Sheets. And you see this creates a spreadsheet here that lists all of the students along with each assignment so far across the top here. And for this class, there's only been one assignment. This is a really helpful way to get all of that data, and it will allow you to do any of your analysis that you need to do as well. So I think assessment in Google Classroom is fairly simple, and this is a great place to start. There are plenty of tools that will allow you to take it further, and today I want to show you a tool that will be really helpful if you're doing any speaking work or you'd like students to practice or improve their reading. And that tool is called Fluency Tutor. So let's give it a go together. To find it, we're going to open a new tab at the top of the screen. So just click the New Tab button, and we're going to search in the Omnibox for Fluency Tutor. And you'll just want to click on the top link that appears in this Google search. Now that takes us to a page in the Chrome Web Store. This should look fairly familiar from our previous session. And then we're going to click Add to Chrome at the top of this page. We get a prompt checking that we do want to add it. So we choose Add App. And Fluency Tutor now has been added to the Apps Launcher. Now at this point, you might be thinking, I've never seen this screen before. Where does it come from? Well, do you remember the bookmark we created for Classroom? Just next to that is an Apps button. And when you click that, that's going to bring you to this dashboard. Yours might look slightly different to mine depending on your school's setup. But once you've added Fluency Tutor, the icon will appear here. So I'm going to click on the Fluency Tutor for Google icon, and it's going to ask for some permissions, just like Read and Write for Google Chrome did. So we scroll down and click Allow. And these permissions are going to allow Fluency Tutor to link really closely with Google Drive and Google Classroom. So the first screen I get is asking whether I'm a student or teacher. You've got the option here to watch a small video, but I'm going to show you the main features now. You do need to agree to the terms and conditions, and then just click Let's Get Started. Fluency Tutor for Google allows you to set students pieces of reading that they record themselves reading, and you can really easily mark. And it does lots of clever analysis, like the words correct per minute, as well as an overall fluency score. So the first thing to do now that we're here is to go to the Students section on the left-hand side of the screen. And if you scroll down this screen at the bottom, it says Using Google Classroom. Click here to automatically sync your students and groups with Fluency Tutor. So that's what we're going to do. And it's checking here for your classes. And you just need to tick the ones that you would like to import. So tick the box on the left and then choose Update Class Rosters. And that's going to go through my classes now and find the students. So on the left-hand side here, we can see some stats about the class, though it's empty right now. And if I want to view the students individually, I can click View Students at the bottom here. And there we can see Joe and Lucy. Now what we need to do is set them a passage to read. So we're going to click Share Passage. And here it gives us a list of lots of different passages that we could choose from. But I think it will be very good to create your own content for your students to read. So just underneath that Share Passage link now, it says Create Content. We click there. And you can see the green part of the screen here says that you can create content from any website. So if you install the Fluency Tutor Chrome extension, that will allow you to pick up text from any website that you visit and share that really quickly as a passage for your students to read. So that's what I'm going to do here. I go to the website and highlight the text. Then I click the Fluency Tutor extension icon on the toolbar. And when I get to this screen, I can just edit the title and description. And also, don't forget to change the language here to English UK, because that's going to give you the option to choose a UK voice to read the passage to the student when they play it. So I'm going to choose the Google Classroom icon at the bottom here, and I have to select the class that I would like to set this passage for, and then click Create Assignment. So this is the clever part. Fluency Tutor now is setting this passage as an assignment in Google Classroom. So students don't need to find anything new or separate. They're going to click on the link in the assignment and read the passage. So we're now logged into Google Classroom as Lucy, and we can see the new assignment that's been set here. It just says Cake Poem and Year 9 Assessment. That's the description I put in earlier. So all Lucy needs to do is click on the link here, and that's going to open up the Fluency Tutor reading screen. So this is the screen that allows students to record their reading. If they want to, they can have this played to them first by clicking the play button here.
They put me in the oven to bake me a deprived and miserable cake.
And they can even use the dictionary and picture dictionary if they want to, by highlighting a word and then clicking one of those buttons. And you'll recognise those tools from the Read and Write for Google Chrome toolbar. Now the other thing they could do is slow down the reading speed if they wanted to, and they can even translate this, which is great for students with English as an additional language. And once Lucy feels ready to record, she just has to click the big record button on the top right of the screen here. She just presses the start recording button to start when she's ready, and the stop recording button once she's done.
They put me in the oven to bake me a deprived and miserable cake. Feeling the heat, I started to bubble. Watching the others, I knew I was in trouble.
If she wants to, she can download that recording so that she can keep a copy. She can record this as many times as she wants before clicking I'm finished. And when she clicks on I'm finished, it turns in the assignment to Google Classroom and also back here into Fluency Tutor. So let's jump back into the teacher's dashboard of Fluency Tutor. And we can see now in our recent activity that Lucy finished reading the cake poem. It's also worth pointing out that Fluency Tutor has decided this is a hard text based on the level of the words that are in the passage. And when you're ready to score, you just click the green score button on the right hand side here and then click score this passage. Now maybe you didn't want to score it just yet, but you did want to check their recording. You could play it from this screen right here. But I'm going to click score this passage. Now on the scoring screen, you can choose how much of the passage you're going to score. All you have to do is drag the green or red circles to mark the start and the end. But I'm going to leave it as it is. And the way to score a passage in Fluency Tutor is to click the play button and follow along the words with my mouse. And when I notice a problem, I click on the word where the problem occurs. Let me show you now. I click play.
They put me in the oven to bake me a deprived and miserable cake. Feeling the heat, I started to bubble.
So there was hesitation here. So I've clicked on the word watching and then choose hesitation.
Watching the others, I knew I was in trouble.
And as soon as I've chosen that error, it carries on playing the rest of the passage. Over on the right hand side of this page, it gives us all of the details for the different problems, as well as some metrics here. We can see here that the metrics are assuming that the words per minute were 58, but it might be that perhaps the student didn't record the whole passage, like in this example. All I have to do is go to the last word that they've read, which in this case is trouble, and click, and then choose mark as last word. Now the metrics have been updated, but it is important to note that really we should be marking at least a minute of speaking for these to be technically accurate. But for the sake of this demo, we'll leave it as it is. The functionality of Fluency Tutor for Google is completely free. That means you can set passages and listen back to your student recordings. However, the scoring features are premium and require a subscription. To see how they work, I am just going to click the Save Scoring button, and then I'm asked to score the passage in 4 areas. So I have to score expression, and then I score the phrasing, then the smoothness, and finally the pace. And I have the opportunity here to leave the student some notes. And once you're happy, you just click Finish. The score on the right hand side here is the words correct per minute, and if I put my mouse over it, we can see the percentage of words correct and the overall fluency score based on the scores I left in those last 4 areas. Now if we quickly head back over to the student Fluency Tutor dashboard, we can see that Lucy has been told that her teacher has scored the reading of her cake poem. She just clicks on the tick here, and she can see the overall words correct per minute, along with the comment left by the teacher. And that's a really quick overview of how you might use Fluency Tutor to score some speaking work here in the UK. You can find out lots more about Fluency Tutor using the links in the description and at the end of this video. Thanks again for joining me on this webinar. And the final webinar in this series will be live. Check the description for all of the details and click the link at the end of the video to register your free place. So just to recap what we covered today, we looked at how to check and assess work in Google Classroom using comments in Docs and then the built-in comments function within Classroom itself, including leaving comments for groups of students. Then we looked at Fluency Tutor for Google for assessing any speaking work that you might be setting your students. And in our next webinar, We'll be covering some more advanced features in Google Classroom, as well as Read and Write for Google Chrome. I'll also be answering any questions live in the webinar, but if you have any before then, just leave them in the comments below this video. Thanks again for joining me, and I really hope this session has been helpful. See you next time.